Welcome back to the deep dive. If you've been keeping an eye on the AI space, well, you've probably heard the noise around one specific metric, OpenAI's GDPval.
That's right. It sort of landed with a splash, didn't it? Late 2025. And the whole point was to get beyond simple lab tests.
Yeah, measure performance on economically valuable real-world tasks, as they put it.
Exactly. Think of it like an AI performance review, but based on what actually drives the global economy.
And the claims that came with it were, frankly, huge, suggesting a massive speed-up in how AI might disrupt things.
Oh, absolutely. So today, our source stack includes OpenAI's own announcements, naturally.
And the media coverage, which was pretty breathless.
Right, but crucially, also a deep statistical analysis looking at reactions from engineers, economists, the experts.
So our mission here is pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Cut through the hype. Give you the shortcut to understanding GDPval.
Yeah, we want to compare what OpenAI claimed against what independent technical experts are actually seeing on the ground.
And just the scope tells you something. GDPval aims to cover a majority of global GDP, focuses on 44 specific occupations.
It's ambitious. This isn't just about making chatbots better, it's looking at the core of knowledge work.
Okay, so let's set the stage. What exactly is this benchmark measuring?
Well, it was designed to be forward-looking, right? Trying to be realistic. They basically threw their best models at complex stuff.
Like what kind of stuff?
Things like financial modeling, complex coding challenges, writing professional documents, measuring the economic output the AI could, in theory, generate.
Got it. And then came the headline claim, the one that just exploded everywhere.
Yes, the big one. OpenAI's research suggested their top models could do these knowledge tasks about 100 times faster.
And 100 times cheaper.
Than human workers. In specialized fields, 100 times.
I mean, that's not just improvement, that's revolutionary disruption territory.
Absolutely. That 100x figure really became the bedrock for the whole media narrative that followed.
But there was more to it than just the number, right? They talked about how they got there.
Yes, exactly. And this is important. The research showed performance jumped up substantially, not just a bit, with more reasoning depth.
And stronger scaffolding. What does that mean in practice?
It means really well-structured prompts, meticulously designed instructions for the AI.
Okay, that makes sense for professional work. You need structure. So they showed progress on things like coding, document formatting.
Right. Tasks that depend heavily on structure. The benchmark itself seemed to suggest, hey, AI is getting really good at mastering structure.
Mastering structure, okay.
But, and this is where it gets interesting and maybe lost in the headlines, the results also showed a split.
A split. How so?
While the models were great with structure, they still kind of failed more often on tasks needing deep, nuanced text reasoning. Contextual understanding.
So structure.
Good.
Good. Deep human-like reasoning. Maybe not quite there yet.
That seems to be the picture. Structure, yes. Subtle context, less so.
Okay. But even with that split, we have to talk about the speed of improvement. That seems undeniable.
Oh, completely. Sources confirm that OpenAI's models improved their raw score on this GDPval test by more than 3 times.
In just 15 months?
Yeah, just 15 months. That rate of progress itself is, well, pretty stunning. Everyone seems to accept that part.
Okay, so the pace is real. The tech is advancing incredibly fast.
Absolutely. The speed of iteration is kind of the one fact nobody really challenges.
But let's shift gears then. From the claims to the reaction, because that's where the story gets, let's say, complicated.
Right. We need to look at this GDPval reaction distribution analysis. It basically pulled together how different stakeholders felt about these claims.
You'd think 100x faster, 3x better in a year, everyone would be on doors.
Right, you'd think. But the analysis showed, actually, widespread skepticism, especially among the experts.
How skeptical?
The overall average acceptance score across 16 different expert sources was only 2.84 out of 5.
Wow, okay. That's below neutral. Less than a coin flip agreement. Why so low?
What's really fascinating is the polarization. The analysis found this clear pattern. The more domain and technical expertise someone had,
The more skeptical they were.
exactly, almost a perfect inverse correlation. It was quite striking.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Tech media, general tech commentators, often without deep, specific domain knowledge, they scored the 100x claims high, like a 4 or 5 out of 5. Very enthusiastic.
Okay, the hype generator.
Pretty much. Now, contrast that with, say, domain-specific engineers, people whose systems rely on this stuff working reliably.
What did they score?
Around a 2. And academic researchers, arguably the highest expertise group in evaluating metrics like this.
Let me guess, even lower.
A1, the
Right.
lowest possible score.
A1. Why? What fundamental flaw did the academics see that the tech media just, completely missed?
Well, they saw methodological issues, overreach, even fundamental philosophical problems with using GDP as the main yardstick.
Right, because economic value isn't the same as safety or reliability.
Precisely. This created what the analysis called a trimodal distribution. Basically, 3 distinct camps.
Okay, what were the camps?
You had the tech media enthusiasm bubble, then a sort of cautious professional middle ground,
And the third.
and then this critical mass of highly skeptical experts who were fundamentally questioning the whole premise.
Let's dig into those rejections. What specifically didn't they accept?
Well, the methodology itself took a hit. Only 25% of the sources thought GDP was even the right framework to evaluate AI performance.
A quarter. That's a huge rejection from the academic side.
It is. The argument was basically economic utility is one thing, but it doesn't guarantee safe, reliable, or verifiable AI performance. Those are different things.
Okay, so they questioned the whole foundation. What about the big 100x number?
That also faced heavy skepticism. Only 40% accepted the 100x faster, cheaper claim if you included the cost of necessary human oversight.
Okay, so the 100x only works if the AI runs completely alone.
That's the critique. The models might run fast, but they aren't reliable enough yet to just let them run wild without a human checking the work.
So this isn't just sour grapes from experts. It's a real disagreement about the total cost, including risk management.
Exactly. They're arguing that you need human review, error checking, managing the liability, and once you factor all that in, the 100x advantage kind of evaporates.
Or at least shrinks dramatically. So the models aren't 100x assets on their own. There may be liabilities without oversight.
That's the core argument from the skeptics, which leads to a crucial point. What do these numbers look like when we adjust them based on this expert consensus?
Right. Let's get practical. We need to compare the hype with the adjusted reality. What's the real estimate for speed and cost?
Okay, so OpenAI claimed 100x. The adjusted estimate, the one most experts seem to land on when you factor in that human oversight.
Yeah.
It comes down to maybe 1.5x to 3x, faster or cheaper.
Whoa. Hold on. From 100x down to 1.5x to 3x, that's a massive difference.
It's a huge difference, but 1.5x to 3x is still a significant productivity boost for any business, let's be clear.
Oh, for sure. But it's a galaxy away from 100x. Is that entire gap just the cost of the human checker?
Pretty much, yeah. The 100x number assumes the AI works perfectly, autonomously. The 1.5x to 3x reflects the current reality. The AI does a super fast first draft.
And then a human has to spend a significant chunk of the saved time checking it, fixing it, signing off on it.
Exactly. The AI acts more like a co-pilot, a very fast assistant, not a full replacement yet. And honestly, that distinction is probably the single most important takeaway for anyone thinking about using this stuff right now.
That completely reframes the economic impact, doesn't it? It's not singularity next Tuesday, it's here's a really valuable new tool.
Precisely. An evolutionary tool, not an instant revolution.
Okay, what about raw performance? OpenAI claimed what, a 47.6% win rate against human experts in their tests?
Right, in the specific test environment. Experts adjusted that down too. They estimate it's likely closer to 30% to 40% win rate in actual messy, real-world production settings.
Why the drop?
Because test environments are clean. Real-world data is messy. Instructions can be ambiguous. It's just harder out there.
Okay, that makes sense. Which brings us neatly to production readiness. OpenAI seemed to imply these models were ready to go.
They did imply that, given the high scores, but the critical analysis largely disagreed. And the reason boils down to one small, but actually quite scary number.
Which number is that?
The failure rate. Even in the tests, there was around a 3% failure rate.
3% doesn't sound that high at first glance.
Maybe not for some things, but think about critical tasks, legal contracts, complex financial models, engineering designs. Can you tolerate a 3% chance of a catastrophic error?
Absolutely not. If you run 100 critical legal documents and 3 of them have potentially disastrous flaws, no company can accept that risk.
Especially when the errors can be subtle. AI hallucinations, weird data interpretations. They can be hard to spot without careful review.
So that 3% failure rate basically invalidates the idea of these models running critical tasks autonomously right now.
According to the expert consensus, yes. It means they can't operate safely without human validation.
And what does that do to the timeline for adoption? OpenAI's framing suggested maybe 1-3 years for widespread use.
The adjusted timeline, based on this need for oversight and the current risk profile, pushes that out significantly, more like 5 to 15 years for widespread autonomous adoption in critical roles.
5 to 15 years. Okay, that's a much longer horizon.
It is. It changes the strategic planning quite a bit.
Now, it's important we don't swing too far the other way, right? We shouldn't just dismiss everything because the 100x claim was maybe overblown.
Absolutely not. We can't just throw out the genuine progress. There are things here we should definitely trust.
Like what? What's solid?
The fundamental rate of improvement. That 3x performance jump in 15 months, that's real, it's confirmed, it's undeniable. That's the big story about the tech's advancement.
Pace is real.
Pace is absolutely real. And the analysis did confirm specific strengths. Like, Claude Opus 4.1 really does seem to outperform competitors on aesthetic tasks, formatting. So there are genuine niche superiorities appearing.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize this for everyone listening. The core takeaway seems to be AI models are getting better incredibly fast. That part is true.
Definitely true.
But as you think about bringing them into your work, you need to use these more cautious, adjusted metrics.
Sure.
Think 1.5x to 3x efficiency boost, not a 100x replacement overnight.
Right. It's a powerful co-pilot, an amplifier for human skill, not an instant substitute.
And focusing on that 1.5x to 3x shifts the whole strategy, doesn't it? It becomes about collaboration, not replacement.
Exactly. The real near-term economic value comes from building effective human-AI collaboration frameworks. That's where you can safely and reliably capture that 1.5x to 3x gain using human expertise to manage the risks.
Looking back at the critique, it seems like two things really stood out as weak points in the GDPval benchmark itself.
Yeah, the analysis highlighted, first, the reliance on just measuring human agreement on task completion. Something like 71% of critics questioned that approach.
Why did they question it?
Because agreement doesn't always mean correctness or safety, especially with complex outputs. And second, the benchmark seemed to implicitly accept that 3% failure rate as okay for some high-stakes tasks.
Which, as we discussed, isn't okay in many professional contexts.
Right, and this raises a really important final question for you, the listener, to think about.
Okay.
If the real value of AI, right now and for the near future, is in making humans better in that human-AI collaboration,
then maybe we're measuring the wrong thing.
Exactly. Should we be fundamentally redefining how we evaluate these AI systems? We're currently stuck measuring machine versus human competition like it's a race.
But if it's about teamwork,
maybe future benchmarks need to measure collaboration success. Things like, does the AI help reduce human errors? Does it increase the throughput of verified correct output? Does it enhance human safety and capability?
So the challenge for you is to think, what metrics would actually define success for AI collaboration in your specific workflow? Because that's probably where evaluation needs to head next.